Hello heifer herd and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing fantastic. We have fat pregnant bitch is gonna be moaning my whole video. We have a new microphone, so I'm really hoping that helps. It's not super windy today in Ohio. It's definitely foggy, so that also may be a huge factor, but I'm really hoping that the audio is better and it cuts out a lot of the background noise. So let me know in the comments if it's good or bad. Today, I thought it would be super fun to kind of go through some of my ladies and tell their backstories, because some of my ladies are like pretty, standard. Like Athena was born out of Elsie and she's had a couple daughters, but some of my ladies have some interesting little facts or stories behind them, so I thought we could share them. Starting right off with my girl Ginger. Ginger is actually the oldest cow I have now. I believe she's about 17 or 18. She looks fantastic for her age. The vet actually couldn't believe it because she still has a lot of her teeth. When cattle get older, a lot of times their teeth will get really worn down or they'll even lose a lot of them. But she is the only cow left that has been on both farms. We used to live at a farm about 5-6 miles away, and she is the only cow left that has actually been on the other farm as well, because we moved here in 2007. Blue and Izzy are over here as well, which is kind of fun because Blue was born in 2011 and I showed her my sophomore year of high school, and then Izzy with the little weird horn was born in 2012 and I showed her my junior year. Now Izzy doesn't have any kind of crazy story other than just I showed her, she did great, but Blue, her birth story was a little interesting. So basically Blue's mom was a very small cow, so when she started to give birth, she got Blue almost all the way out, but Blue had some hips on her and she actually got hip locked inside her mom's vagina. And at the time we didn't have a come along because we had chains. She's getting up. She's like, I'm tired of you talking about me. But you need more pressure so that you can get the baby out without harming the baby or the mom too much. So luckily we have neighbors about 5 minutes away. We called them and they let us come get their come along. But Blue was hanging outside of her mom, only her back end inside. And so she was already alive, alert, ready to freaking go. And she did a little damage to her poor mom because this little shit was kicking and stuff trying to get out, and obviously her back end was still inside. So when we got her out, her mom was sore. So we let mom chill, we let her lay down, but obviously Blue still needed taken care of. So I ended up milking Blue's mom so that she could get that colostrum, that nutrients, and then I actually ended up laying with Blue in the barn almost all night. I was like 15 and I just remember distinctly I had a purple Nike zip up and I took it off and I put it around me and Blue and we slept in the barn. We do not have Blue's mother anymore. We sold her to another farm just because with the bulls that we have, she was just a little too small and we were afraid of having that issue every year. But luckily Blue is bigger and she has had no issues and she has been a fantastic cow. She was excellent when I showed her. She's obviously a gorgeous gal. Very lucky to have her. Very glad she made it through her little traumatizing birth. So really quick, a fun little fact about Salem. I actually bought her a week before my county fair and she was so chill and docile that I broke her to walk in a week. And I literally took her to my county fair and showed her in the open class in a literal week because she literally was just super freaking chill. So I want to talk about Phoebe next because the reason why she got her name is actually because her first year, which was 2 years ago, when she had her first baby, it unfortunately did not make it. It was stillborn, something happened, I'm not sure. But at that exact same time, my girl Elsie had twins, and a lot of times when cattle have twins, they're not like Jolene and make enough milk for both, so I usually end up having one as a bottle baby. But see, cattle are very maternal, so when they lose a baby, it does affect them, and when they have twins, it's hard for them to claim both. So what I did was real quickly, I nabbed one of Elsie's twins, and I put it in the pen with Phoebe, and I put a little bit of vanilla extract on her nose and then put some on the baby because that way it smelled like her. And we left them in their separate pens and she ended up claiming it, and so she was like the stepmom essentially. And like obviously it's a little bit different than the actual Phoebe story from Friends, but it was just awesome. It was like the perfect way to make a shitty situation because obviously it was really unfortunate that Phoebe, her baby, did not make it, but it was really great that it helped Elsie out in the fact of she didn't have to try to take care of both twins, and then Phoebe didn't have to mourn the death of her baby because she kind of was like, oh yeah, this is my baby, and I'm just like I know something you don't. Now, my girl Red was born in 2010, and she was born to one of my absolute favorite cows we've ever had. Her name was Brownie. Unfortunately, she passed before I really got like clout, I guess, or started filming a lot on TikTok, but her name was Brownie. She was amazing. Red was actually one of my best show heifers I've ever had. She won my class at fair, and the reason why she has that little metal thing on her ear is because she was one of my girls I showed out of state, and if you show a calf out of state, they have to have specific vaccines to be safe to make sure you're not cross-contaminating and all that jazz. But she is actually the calf that I did best at a best show, ironically. That is a very competitive circuit here in Ohio, and I actually got second place with her, which is super freaking good for a best show. I was really, really proud. She was an awesome show heifer to have, and she's been a great cow to have. She has beautiful, lovely babies, and she is such a good girl. Now, it is absolutely no secret, if you have been on my TikTok page for even a little bit of time, to know that this gal is extremely special to me. Huh, Snow girl. Yes, you are so very special. So, Snow is the daughter of Blue. She was born in 2015, and I showed her my last year of showing, and she actually got me able to win my fair for the first time ever, and I was so freaking excited. But her birth and just the way she was has been very different from any calf I've ever had. So she was Blue's, I believe, second baby, and we had brought Blue into the barn because Blue is still a little bit smaller, and we just wanted to make sure everything went smoothly because we just wanted to, you know, double check. We do that with a lot of our heifers. And the day that Snow was born, my grandmother had 2 strokes, and she ended up going to the hospital by a helicopter, and it was really bad. She was in a coma, and we just really weren't sure the odds. Like, we didn't know what was going to happen. And I remember just, that was an awful day. One of the worst days of my life, honestly. And because I'm very close to my grandma. My grandma was my best friend. And so I was very defeated. We were very upset as a family. And I remember coming home, and it was like 12:30 at night. And my dad and I were like, well, crap, we need to go check Blue and make sure she's good. Let's see if she has a baby. So we go out in the barn, we turn on the lights, and we just see this absolute beauty of a calf. She was just all white, she was gorgeous, and she was just so stinking cute. And it was almost just like an angel sign of like, everything's gonna be okay. And so we kept her in the barn for a few days just to make sure her and Blue were good and everything, and then we let them out. Now, most of the time with baby calves, the first couple days before they really know anything, they will let me get near them, let me get close to them, especially if they're in the barn. So Snow was definitely letting me love on her, but then once we turned her out into the field, I thought for sure, like, okay, she's gonna be like every other calf. She's not gonna let me near her anymore, and that's fine. But that was the complete ass opposite. I don't know what it was about Snow, but she let me love on her continuously. If I walked out in the field, she would come up to me and let me love on her, and it never stopped. Usually calves are only like that if they're bottle babies, like that's why Oswald was so friendly, but she literally had no reason to be so attached to me, but she has been ever since she was born. And that's why, like, people always love to ask, like, who's your favorite cow? Who's your favorite cow? And like, it sounds kind of bad to have a favorite, but it's Snow, because she's just completely different than any other cow I've ever had. I mean, she's tattooed on my body for a reason. She's gonna hit me because I stopped scratching her. But she's a very special girl, and I'm very, very grateful to have her on my farm. Came up to the other field so that you could learn about Miss Joe and Rocco next. So these two, if you did not know, actually came from New York. I posted in a cattle group on Facebook that we were looking for a new bull because we were originally going to use my uncle's again, Diablo, if you remember him, but that didn't ended up not being able to work out. So Dad was like, well, let's see if we can find a shorthorn bull. So I posted, and this guy messaged me, and he's like, hey, I just used my buddy's bull, and I believe he's selling him. Like, he's a registered shorthorn, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, awesome. Where are you guys located? And he's like, New York. And I'm like, bud, we can't make that journey. And so I ended up calling that guy, and him and my dad talked, and he was like, I'm actually coming to Ohio in like a week. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, like I'm switching from cattle to goats, and there's this big goat sale that I'm going to, and it was only like an hour and a half away from us. So he was like, I actually want my cows to be sold together if that's possible, because obviously his cows are very similar to ours, very friendly, like pets. They were used for show cattle. So, oh, my son's up here and he might impale me. Hi, bud. Please watch your horns. And so just like that, we ended up getting them. Now, if you guys remember, we did get Delilah as well. She was a yearling heifer, and I was so excited for her, but unfortunately she was bred without us knowing, and so she ended up passing while trying to give birth, and that's why I'm so adamant. That word came out wrong. That's why I am so very strict when it comes to when I will allow my ladies to be bred. I usually wait an extra year just to be safe. Oswald, he's trying to eat my camera. Just because I want to make sure they're fully developed and like at full size to be able to carry and like birth a child. So that was a really upsetting time. I'm really just beating myself up for not. Oswald is trying to eat my camera. Oh goodness. Well, bud, I guess we'll talk about you next since you want the spotlight so damn bad. So if you guys don't know, Oswald was my bottle baby in 2020. His mother, if you didn't know her, her name was Daphne. She was a great gal. I showed her my senior year of high school, and she was fantastic, but she just didn't want to be a mom. Cows are very maternal and they're really good moms, but there's always that like 1 in a million that just doesn't want to be a mom for some reason. And unfortunately for Oswald, that was the case with Daphne. She had already done it once before, so I was trying to give her one more chance, and unfortunately she just didn't want to be a cow mom. So my parents went up to see my sister that day, and I was gonna go, but then I was like, you know what, I'll stay home. It's calving season. Someone should be here in case something happens. And I was walking back down from the barn after after doing a nice hoochie check to see if anyone was close. And as I got close to the barn, I hear this little faint little bawl, like bah, and I was like, oh shit, that doesn't sound good. So I looked down in the field, and there was this little guy just laying there. He had been birthed and forgotten. So I took the gator down there and I loaded him up in the back, and I was literally driving with one arm around him and then just trying to drive to the barn. And I got him in, and he became my bottle baby. And that is why Oswald is so attached to me and so very friendly, because ever since he was born, I have been mom. Like, I know I joke about that, and people probably don't think I'm being serious, because like a lot of people are always like, my dogs are my babies, and like, oh, my cows are my babies, which they are, but like Oswald legitimately sees me as mom. Like, that I am his mom. One time when we weaned the babies, because a healthy time to wean babies is about 6 months, and I think they were about 6 or 7 months, so we weaned them all, and we just put Oswald in with them, because obviously he didn't have like a technical like cow mom. It was me with a bottle, and they all got out. And when calves get out, they're very herd instinct, so they all went to mom. And my dad calls me and he's like, hey, so you need to come home straight from work. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, the babies got out and all of them went to their respected mothers, but Oswald's mom is a working mom, so he's just wandering around. So I literally came home, and as soon as I walked out there, I was like, hey, Oswald, and he saw me and he followed me right back in. So he is my good boy. He's a good boy. Huh, yeah, that's my good little boy. Mama Jo said, feed me. And lastly, while we're up here, I'll tell you Benny, because Benny's an interesting story. Obviously, you guys know, Benny is super friendly. The reason why my cows are friendly is one of two things. Either one, they were ex-show heifers, so they were in the barn a lot with me, had a lot of human interaction, and so they're basically like dogs. And then two, it's an Oswald situation where I was his mother because he was a bottle baby, so he has just always been used to me. I have some ladies who are intermediate, where they're friendly, they let me help their babies and all that, but they don't want pets and love and affection, and I respect that boundary. But literally, just out of the blue one day, I was out in the field petting Oswald, and Benny was probably 3-4 months, and he just comes right up to me and just wants pets immediately. And then from that moment on, that was how he's been. Like, he just comes right up to me, wants pets. Like, it was just like a weird switch for him. Like, I don't know if he saw it happening to Oswald and he's like, hey, I went in on that, or what. But literally, that is how it happened with Benny. It was just like, he was like, that looks nice. I would like that, please. So, that is... We're gonna fix that. You'll see in a later video. We are going to officially, I'm gonna do one last ditch attempt attempt to help make these horns less aggressive. But that is all of the interesting stories of some of my ladies that I have on the farm. If you have any questions or you're curious about any other cows, feel free to let me know. I can do a part 2. Like I said, some of my other ladies are pretty standard, like they were born from this cow, maybe I showed them, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a like. That helps me out a lot. And also, if you're new here or coming back but haven't subscribed yet, please do that as well, because then you're notified when I post. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. And all my links are down below if you want to shop my merch. I always wonder what people think when they drive by and see me with my camera out here at the cows, but oh well, who cares. But if you want to shop my merch or follow me on any of my social, it is all linked down below. Peace out.